Hello, and you are listening to FPcast, the podcast for Fruitless pursuits where we bullshit about the week in pop culture. I am Luke.
And I'm Jacinta.
And this week we are talking about...
television, collectibles, video games, comics, books, board games, and more.
Floaties.
Clowns. Are you a fan of clowns?
I'm fine. I'm neutral about clowns. I have no feelings one way or another about clowns.
What about, like, as a child? Would you be excited to see a clown? Was a clown an interesting thing?
Yeah, I mean, like, if you're seeing a clown, you're going to the circus, and there was, like, other fun things at the circus too, so yeah, I guess so.
But, okay, if you were going to name your top 10 things at the circus, is a clown's one of them?
Probably not, but, like, they're part of the entire package.
But this is what I mean, like, this is why I don't like clowns.
Okay.
Because I don't think that kids like clowns. I don't think clowns are for kids. The problem is, clowns only are for the clown themselves. Mm-hmm. It's like the sort of fetishistic thrill that the clown, the adult man usually gets from being a clown, right? So that's why it's creepy. Like, here's a clown entertaining a bunch of kids, but he's entertaining himself more than he's entertaining them.
I think clowns with skills are okay. Like, clowns that do balloon twisty things, that's fine.
Look, if it's like someone clowning in a sort of Cirque du Soleil kind of environment or something like that, also, yeah, like you said, skills. Mad skills. But it's got to be more than just the face paint and the big pants. So people are wondering why we're going to Clown Town today. This is tricky too. I got to choose my words wisely here. We saw it.
The movie It was seen today.
Yeah.
By some members of this party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though we were all there.
Yeah.
So we'll explain that when we do our feature review today, which is It. I'm also going to talk about My Cousin Rachel, which we caught up on, and there's just some funny things I want to talk about with that. And, you know, there's not much news either, so hopefully we'll find some tangents. It's that time of year, but we've got a great movie to review, so that's something special. And maybe just along the way, if there's anything random that you want to talk about, anything that you've been thinking about over the last week, maybe we can hash it out on the show, and maybe our listeners will have some feelings about it, or some advice or some input.
Yeah, maybe. Well, speaking of floaters, there was a really, really, really great story in the news this week about a young girl who went on a Tinder date with a young chap.
Yeah. Where was this?
This was in England.
Okay.
Somewhere. I don't know where. I'm not into the details of the story because the sort of broader strokes are fantastic enough by themselves. They'd gone out on a date to Nando's.
Yeah.
As you do.
As you do.
and then they went back to his place to watch a movie or something. And she needed to use the toilet because the Nando's had not completely agreed with her little tum.
She had a big block of squashed chicken in her lower intestine.
Yes.
That was trying to make a break for freedom.
Yeah. So she went to the toilet, did a quick poop, and much to her complete horror, the toilet would not flush.
That is a nightmare.
Yes, and so her dirty great big poop was sitting there in the toilet, and she panicked. She got some toilet paper, she picked up the poo out of the toilet and attempted to throw it out the window. Unfortunately, in this particular house, it had like the double panes or the double glazing or whatever you call it, and the poo fell between the two panes of glass. So she is just off her head with like panic at this point, and she goes back out to the guy and says, "I have a problem." And so he had to help her try to get down between these two panes of glass to extract her own feces that she had dropped down there. I believe she was able to get the feces, which she then handed to him. But then when they tried to get her back out of the gap between the glass, she was stuck. So they had to call the fire department to extract her And they had to break the window to get her out of this predicament of trying to retrieve her own feces. And people knew about this because the guy set up a GoFundMe page to try and recollect the money for his broken window that he had to pay for, with the entire story of what had happened.
This guy's a fucking dickbag, don't you reckon?
Well, I don't know. Like, I can't imagine when he went out on the date at the start of the night that he would be up for, like, you know, it was like $13,000 or some stupid thing to replace his
This double
window.
glazing is quite expensive.
I don't know. I guess so. It
Well,
must be.
I've got a story about double glazing, which is pop culture related, which I'll segue into in a sec. But I think, is this a first date?
It sounded like it, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Like, that's pretty full on.
Well, it's pretty full on even to go to someone's house.
What's a Tinder date?
Especially on a Tinder date. Would you go to a stranger that you met
I mean,
on Tinder?
I wouldn't, but I
to
feel
their
like
house?
the young people do.
And I don't want to shit shame, but would you shit on the first date?
Absolutely not.
No.
Well, I mean, if she had no other choice.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
she's
Like,
put in a
sometimes you just
predicament.
don't have a choice.
So she's opted to be in this situation. Fair enough, this happened. You're the guy in this situation. And when this person comes in, like, you know how mortified they must be. Like, I think going, okay, well, I will help you extract this shit right now. I think that's poor form.
Why? You don't want it in your windows.
No, you don't, but this person is mortified. Wouldn't you just go, all
go
right,
home."
have a laugh? No, I would just go, have a laugh, go, look, don't worry about it. Close the door, let's go out somewhere and just forget about it.
I don't know. Perhaps she was very insistent on wanting to remove the poo. Like, I would probably insist on removing the poo if I was to ever, unfortunately, find myself in a similar situation.
She would, look, as soon as...
What would you do in that situation?
I'm a gentleman, so as soon as this mortified person comes out and goes, there is a poo in the... I'd go, bloody cats. It happens all the time. They crawl around on the windows out there and their shit gets in. I'm so sorry you had to see that. Look, don't worry about it. Close the door. Let's go to my bedroom. Yeah. I mean, it's his fault. He's got the fucking terrible toilet.
Well, yeah. To be fair, yes. If his
Is he
toilet,
going to go fund to fix his stupid toilet that doesn't flush?
Well, hopefully so. But it is his own. Like, I mean, what does he do when he needs to do number twos? Does he just fling it out the window?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe he does. Maybe he...
Like, she didn't look out the window. There was just a pile of shit underneath the window.
Yeah, well, I think he's the pile of shit in this story. I think it doesn't sound very... And then to, be worried about his old window there. What a jerk. Because there was a photo of her, was it there?
There was, stuck in the window.
So who took that?
I don't know.
Could you see the problem in the photo?
I hadn't looked at the photo that closely to see if
Okay.
you could... I think the feces had been extracted by the point that the fireman had to turn up.
Yeah. We got extracted twice that day.
It sure did.
Well, there you go. No,
Forcibly.
well, the pop culture link is that I watched White Gold on Netflix, English comedy series, 6 episodes. On there as a Netflix original, but I don't know if that just means in terms of exclusive distribution in Australia. But that is about double glazing salesman in the 80s, I believe. It's got one of the in-betweeners in there. And,
okay.
some dudes. And it was quite funny. Well, it wasn't a bad watch, but I realised that I'd heard the term double glazing a lot, but not actually realised what it was. And it was almost a kind of scam, the way these aggressive salesmen would come in and convince you that this is what you needed and that this thing, which was, 2 cheap layers of plastic, would solve all your problems, and people would be paying it off forever. So it sounds like not much has changed if we're talking $13,000 for this bloody window.
It was something like that, yeah.
For £13,000. And that's just the weight of the... Yeah. So anyway, yeah. Have a watch. You might like... I think if you like the characters and you like the actors, then...
Okay. Well, I'm already invested in this world of double glazing now, so...
You've come this far. The only thing I think about it is that... it maybe takes a bit of a... Like, it's only 6 episodes, which isn't a long time to develop, and it takes a little bit of a tone shift at some point where these characters that are very free of responsibility start to have to deal with responsibilities. And that's probably like the responsible thing to do. But in just 6 half-hour episodes, I was like, if they're just like wacky, reckless, shithead characters, let them be that, because I don't want a redemption arc in this short a time. And yeah, when you do look at the real world ramifications of what they're doing, then it's suddenly like a real bummer. So yeah, that was the only thing. But it has some standout performances. But the biggest bit of pop culture news this week was that Colin Trevorrow is out as director of episode 9. And now everybody knows this. Talking, of course, about Star Wars episode 9, which everybody knows because I just said everyone knows this. Does this come as a surprise? Was this brewing?
I think it only comes as a surprise that it's taken this long.
Yeah, well, there was that feeling that he'd Josh Tranked himself. Because, yes, Miller and Lord were fired from Han Solo, but let's not forget Josh Trank was fired well before that from the Boba Fett movie he was developing. And that came after the disastrous release of his Fantastic Four movie. It was felt he could no longer do the job. And we talked a while ago about Book of Henry, which hasn't appeared here to my knowledge.
No, I don't like. Not that I've seen, no.
Which was really panned by critics. He was said to be like a very tone-deaf director with it. And there's that feeling, they're going to get rid of him too. And now the axe has dropped. So this isn't... I mean, it's new news in terms of the last week, but most people will have heard this. And then the speculation is, well, what director would you like to see? And I think it's funny that people put forward directors that are kind of auteurs and have a really distinct style, because that's not going to happen in Star Wars.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that, like, really deeply dumb suggestions for directors, and I'm just like, why are you even commenting that? Like, that is just never going to happen, and it's just very, very silly. And
they've got no interest in overlapping a new style over the top of what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think the thing that surprised me with all the interviews that came out is this idea that the story hasn't been planned. That Abrams did his version, and then Rian Johnson, who's directing the second one, got to look at that and go, okay, well, how can I expand on this? But then there was no direction of you have to hit these points or you have to do this. And there was no future for that either for the third one of him going, well, now I have to set up this or whatever. So if that's to be believed, Trevorrow and the other people that have been writing have then been using his script as the jumping point to decide what happens next. Seems like an odd way to work, but then at the same time, I guess that's kind of, despite the fact that Lucas will always tell you he had all this shit planned out in notebooks since he was like 3 or 4 years old, I guess that's how the original trilogy panned out as well. But I wonder if it was kind of a safety mechanism, because we forget that when Disney's approaching this, and if you remember before Force Awakens came out, there was a lot of trepidation from fans who had all been burnt from the prequels, and Star Wars was on the outer. I think this has to have been a mechanism that they could adjust course and change things if it wasn't received in the way that they wanted it to be received. It has to have been that flexibility. But I think now they're so confident with what Rian Johnson's doing that that need to sort of safety-proof the future has disappeared. And they're more willing, I would think, to let him have his vision for what happens next. And I would rather have that consistency as like if Last Jedi is as great as they think it is, I want to see what he has planned next for those characters and how he thinks this thing wraps up. So I really would be very surprised if Rian Johnson isn't the next dude.
Yeah, it does seem like the obvious announcement. And I mean, I don't know if they're copying any beats or anything from the original trilogy, but given that there was such a sort of through line between Empire and Jedi, it would make sense to have the same director taking, 9 and 10 through.
8 and 9.
8 and 9. Yeah.
I want that consistency in the story. I want to feel like there is some vision behind it, that it's not being patched together by committee. And I think he seems to have fit into that Star Wars family very well as well. And when you saw him at Star Wars celebrations and stuff, when he was up on stage, and how generous he was with fans and everything in his time, he seems really deep into it. So just give him the job.
Yeah. I mean, give him if he's doing a good job, just give him a bit more cash, keep him on the books a bit longer.
Let him go. Let him go for it. Well, that's what they did with Harry Potter, remember? It was all changing directors. And then they just went, we got this guy. He's got it. He gets it. He knows the style. He's cheap. Let's just keep at it. Let's just roll these out. So there's that. And then, just a other sort of spattering of announcements. This idea that Drew Goddard, who did Cabin in the Woods, which we fucking loved, that he's doing an X-Force movie with Deadpool at the center. You know anything about X-Force?
Oh, not really.
They're like the 90s extreme version of the X-Men.
Okay.
Really.
So they did like rollerblades and skateboards and stuff?
More like that anti-hero, lots of guns and, you know.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah. Lots of one-liners and guns and shooting people.
Okay.
And not having any substance.
Yeah, okay. Cool.
Yeah, so it'll all depend on who the lineup is, I guess. X-Force has mutated throughout the years. Back then it was like Cable and Domino. So we'll probably see those guys. But some of the characters that were in X-Force when I was reading it are now in this New Mutants movie that's coming up.
Oh, okay.
So God knows. And when I saw this story, there was a picture of Psylocke on the cover of the X-Force. So, you know, give Olivia Munn something to do other than
give her some pants.
Standing around like she did. Because she can't have pants. Psylocke can't have pants. They would interfere with her psychic energies, with her powers, with her purple butterfly.
Yep.
Yeah, big problem there. And Suicide Squad 2 is a thing that's happening.
Yay!
So, God, this is all confusing, isn't it? Because then you've got, like, Suicide Squad 2 with Jared Leto as the Joker, and then you've got this Harley Quinn and Joker movie, which is separate from that. And then you've got the Joker origin movie. And then I thought we also had like a Harley Quinn, Catwoman, Poison Ivy, Gotham City Sirens movie as well.
About that.
So there's a lot of movies.
There's a lot of movies that I don't think many people are that interested in.
I don't know.
Really?
I don't know. But it's one of those things though. That said, when people go, audiences are going to be confused. Yeah, they are. But audiences are confused anyway. Like mainstream audiences don't know what the fuck is happening in pop culture.
Yeah.
And don't know how any of this stuff works. And they'll be confused for like 10 seconds. You know what I mean? Like,
and then they'll get on with their everyday lives and then they won't care anymore.
Watch it and whatever it is, you know, we cope. We can figure these things out. So I don't think it's a massive problem. But the director for Suicide Squad 2 is Gavin O'Connor this time, who is an accountant. So good for him.
Yeah, well done.
Like climbing up the corporate ladder and... Oh, no, he directed The Accountant.
Oh, that makes more sense.
So he's already chummy with Ben Affleck. So that'd be great. That's one of my favourite film heroes is The Accountant.
The Accountant?
Yeah, it probably goes The Accountant. I'm going backwards from 3 to 1.
Okay.
The Accountant, Mutt Williams.
Yep.
Love Mutt Williams. And Jake Sully.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Obviously. Yeah,
obviously Jake Sully, yeah. He's an Avatar. So good.
Remember Avatar, guys?
Oh, God. What happened to Avatar? Are they going to make some sequels to that? Hope so.
Can't wait.
That's one of those
I'm
things,
about as excited as Avatar as I am about all these Joker movies.
Yes, yeah. Look, just think. We'll get a Joker movie every week.
What if they did like Avatar Joker crossover movies? It'd just be too much goodness to handle.
What about an Australian Joker played by Sam Worthington? He falls into a water tank.
Magic.
And it just mutates him just because it's a dirty water tank.
It's just full of salmonella and bacteria.
Yeah.
He comes out all fucked up. Yeah.
And he's like, ha, 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 forward, dickheads. That'd be so good.
That would be good.
Yeah. Well, I guess Heath Ledger's the Australian Joker.
Oh, yeah, I guess he kind of is, yeah. Well, he was the Australian Joker.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry. Let's, we got some time to kill. Should we have a couple of minutes of silence for...
Let's make 12 to 14 minutes of silence.
Yeah. Anyway, so I wonder what wacky things Leto will do. Which reminds me, I was thinking about this today. Bear with me. Because at first you're going to think this is a dumb question, but when you think about it, you're going to go, oh yeah, no, this is a thing. Like, we all have the ability to like pick up a texter and draw all over our faces.
Yes.
But none of us do. And I reckon that I just couldn't. In the same way that if I'm standing on the road, side of the road, and there are cars whizzing past, there is something inhibiting me from throwing myself into the street. I just could not do it. I just couldn't. I couldn't jump off a cliff. I couldn't. And I could have I've got it, like probably a text within reach. I could not just start drawing on my face. I would just be inhibited. And you think, there are billions of people in the world, people walking around all the time. You don't see anyone like that's drawn all over their face. I know drunk people get their faces drawn on by other people.
I just feel a lot of people like face tattoos. That like even more thought goes into that.
Tattoos are different though. But that's the thing. Like, we think about it. We go, okay, we're going to get a tattoo. And of course it's permanent. So we really, really think about that. But we don't go, oh, I'm going to draw a Millennium Falcon in Sharpie on my arm today because I love the Millennium Falcon and I'm going to have that for 4 days until it wears out. Like, we don't do that. No one draws on themselves. We write on our hands. But, like, the body's a beautiful canvas.
Yeah. Before I got my first tattoo, I drew it on so that I
Yeah.
could work out if that's where I
But
wanted
have you
it
ever
and if I
drawn
could
on
deal
your
with it.
face, just like as a fashion thing? And
No,
if,
of course not.
And if you saw, like, what if it took off? Like, what if you saw someone walking around and they drawn on their face and you were like, oh, that looks really cool? Because people wear makeup. At some point, somebody must have decided, well, we can paint our lips red. And that's a thing. So maybe the future, everyone will have texture all over their faces.
Yeah, and they'll write, their main character trait across their forehead.
Yeah, backwards, forwards and backwards, so they can read it in the mirror. Remind themselves who they are. Very existential. Just as proof of this, like if anybody thinks they can do it and send a picture. Put a picture on our Facebook group of you having drawn all over your face. But I don't think it's possible.
Oh, we're issuing a challenge.
Well, I just don't think. I think the brain will cut it. I think it's part of the matrix. I think it's part of. It's a line of code in there.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, if it was able to be easily washed off, then I don't think it's that big a deal.
But then does nobody do it? Why don't you ever see somebody's done it?
Because it looks weird.
But that's society, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess.
It could look cool.
Could look cool. I mean, I know people that will draw, like, little love hearts and shit on their cheek and whatever.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
Like mascara and
You
stuff.
come from a different place. All right. Should we talk about our feature review? Should we talk about it?
I'll try.
Yeah. So, let's provide some context here. We don't see horror movies together.
No.
You don't see horror movies.
No.
Probably the most intense sort of stuff that we've seen together would be like, was it Lights Out? What was the...
Yeah.
Was it called Lights Out? What was the movie?
Was it Don't Breathe?
Don't Breathe.
Don't
That's
Breathe,
it. Lights
yeah.
Out is something completely different.
Yeah. I like Don't Breathe. That was good.
Yeah, it was. But it wasn't a horror movie. There was nothing supernatural. And it's the supernatural thing that puts you off, right?
Yeah. Like ghosts and spirits and weird shit. Stuff that couldn't really conceivably happen.
Really unfounded fears of stuff that couldn't happen and could never hurt you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So I was kind of surprised when you agreed that we'll go and see it.
I didn't really ever agree. There was nothing else out this week.
No, but then there are so many movies that, like, when The Witch came out, and you're just like, no. And which is fair enough. I'm not saying that's absolutely you're right.
But there was also other things on that
We
week.
see enough things as it is. But yeah, you're just like, no, I'm not going to see that. Not my thing, which is fair enough. So yeah, but I thought, maybe because there's a bit of buzz about it. It's a cultural phenomenon thing. It's that maybe you were kind of interested to give it a go. The buzz about it has been great. So we went to see it this morning. And I put my cards on the table straight away. I fucking loved it. I thought it was great. Like, top 10 of the year material for me. Really enjoyed it. And it was funny in parts. It was really, the dialogue was great. And I was thinking all the way through, and I guess I never really looked at you while we were watching it because I'm absorbed by it. I'm thinking you're going to come out of this going, yeah, I'm really glad I saw that. Like, that was so much better and different than I thought it was going to be. But what was the scenario here?
Well, I was out past my bedtime last night, and the allure of a nice dark room and a comfy chair meant that I dozed off about 10 minutes into the film and sort of properly woke up about 10 minutes from the end.
Yeah, so you missed it.
Yeah, which I'm not like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not very upset about that. Like, I saw the old movie when I was a kid, and it fucked me up for a very long time. And so, yeah, I had a friend that saw it the other day, and he said it scared the shit out of him. So I was not that bothered. I mean, I had been saying the last couple of, over the last week that I was going to go and see another movie, that I was going to leave halfway through it, and you seem to think that I was joking.
Well, we say a lot of things with a straight face that we don't really mean. Yeah. I give this film a really strong recommendation. It didn't scare the shit out of me. I wasn't really scared during it, but I think that the horror concepts and imagery and the ideas and the inventiveness of the horror elements were just top notch. Like, but I think I had more of that, like, wide-eyed sort of smiling glee at the horror parts. Just that sort of like, oh, this is great. Like, well done. That's such a great image, or such a memorable bit of creepiness, as opposed to me actually being in that, oh, fuck, what's happening next? I was pretty chill. But then as well, I think, we've mastered clowns here. I don't know if that's the same all around the world, but you look at, like, the Royal Show, which is like the Bogan County Fair. We're whacking balls in their mouths.
We are.
You know what I mean? And that's the sort of, like, if it attacked me, that's the kind of treatment it would get. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I remember from the old one, he had very sharp teeth. They're going to want to put your balls in his mouth.
They all float down. Yeah, pal. If you thought he had sharp teeth in the other one, man, he had a lot of teeth in this one.
Like a shark? Rows of teeth?
Yeah, like a shark multiplied.
Okay.
There were lots of teeth.
Okay.
And sort of, I think as the movie progressed, the teeth count went up.
Okay.
He had more and more teeth as it went. This is so good. Like, it's set in the 80s, which already is just brilliant. I think, like, you set something in the 80s and you make it about kids that have, like, Gremlins posters on their walls and ride their bikes and shine torches at the screen. It's fucking brilliant. Like, and these kids have amazing dialogue, and they swear like kids really swear, and make off-color jokes and rib each other, and they're the heart of this story, and they were fantastic. It has a Stranger Things vibe, or rather Stranger Things has an It vibe, plus the kid from Stranger Things is in this, so I think it's just the absolute right thing at the right time. Like, all the pieces are there, which I think people are really enjoying that kind of revival, and it's just a really smart, great script. Like, I love the kids, I love their story, and I loved the horror elements. I thought Pennywise was awesome, and it didn't even do that thing where you see the horror coming. Like, the horror could appear at any time. It could be broad daylight, it could be out in the middle of the street, it could be somewhere populated. Like, it just would happen. And I like that it was still incredibly effective without relying on darkness or quick cuts or all that sort of bullshit. And there are a lot of shots in this film that are just I have not seen before. Lots of ideas and lots of things that aren't spoilt in trailers. Just all this new imagery constantly sort of refreshing you. And I can't recommend it enough. I think if you have any interest in it, there's fuck all else out there at the moment. So go and see it on the big screen and have a blast. Or have it sleep in a cinema.
Yeah, it was very loud. That was my one criticism of it. There was a lot of kind of screaming. Okay, so that sort of pulled me out of my reverie. But
so hard one to sleep through. You wouldn't recommend?
Yeah. I'm sure there was. I think Hampstead is on at the moment with. I think it's Diane Keaton and Brendan Gleeson. You could probably have a fair nap through that one.
Oh, Diane Keaton, that's a great lullaby of a person. If you want to catch some Z's in a dark space, and I imagine it'll be quite empty as well.
I would think so, yeah.
Those theatres. And Brendan Gleeson, that'd be like having a big old teddy bear right there next to you.
Absolutely.
Kind of a large jolly pillow man.
Smell of farts and whiskey, I imagine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, well, something for everyone. So you can't give this movie any stars then.
No, I won't be able to log this on Letterboxd because I probably watched about 10 minutes of it. And I have no plans on revisiting it.
I'm going to give it quite a lot of stars. I don't know. I feel like in terms of this sort of thing, like this style of horror movie, and I think it's a certainly a broad style of horror movie compared to your It Follows and your The Witch and those sort of indie art house ones. This is a lot broader than that. But in that arena, I think it's like the best that I've seen in a long, long time. So, you know, in terms of does it set out to achieve what it wants to, yeah, like I think it exceeds expectations. It's great in that sense. It's 5 stars. It does exactly what it sets out to do. So, yeah, it's up there for me. Oh, it's definitely 4.5.
Okay.
5. I love the 80s. Like, there's just something about that. Like, to sort of wake up and be hungover and then go and sit in this dark room and just live in the 80s for a couple of hours. It was just really cool. There's a lot of nostalgia for me there.
I only lived in the 80s for 6 years, so I have nothing attaching me to the 80s.
In 89, like, that's when the year I turned 13, and we were living in
I was 5.
like a rural area about an hour out of Canberra, which is our capital city, America. And
Capital city of porn and fireworks.
Yeah. And we were in this little house, and opposite, across the road, was this like swampy sort of ditch in the, you know, this pretty sparse suburban area. And it did have a tunnel very similar to the entrance that we see in it. And I do remember with a friend who sort of came over for the weekend venturing in there just a little bit. My parents would have freaked the fuck out if they'd known. Like, stupid thing to do, but we did that. And that same weekend we had that kind of Stand By Me experience. There was a really tall railway bridge that went over a river. And I'd never seen a train go over it. I don't think it was in use, but then I have no idea. And we crawled over this thing. And again, I don't know if my mum knows to this day that we did that. It was a stupid thing to do. It was, but we were just adventuring kids, you know, bikes and going to the library and getting out Lovecraft books and stuff, which is a really interesting time. And everything's changed now with the internet. I'm fucking chained to this microphone every day.
You don't need to go to the libraries anymore.
No, the library comes to me via the internet machines. Crazy. I don't think anyone's listening to this for me to tell them that the internet exists and works. Probably know that.
Probably.
Already.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was it.
That was it.
That was it. Nothing else you'd like to add about your experience?
No, the popcorn wasn't very good at the movies today.
No, it wasn't very salty, was it?
No. And the guy sitting in front of me had a very, very big head and was obscuring quite a bit of the screen for me anyway. So, you know.
That might have been a good thing.
Oh, what? Well, I mean, it didn't really make a difference to me in the end. But
there were some lone wolf guys seeing it today, wearing caps and looking like serial killers. Do you notice that? Definitely there's a horror fan.
Was that the guy? Because there was a guy that was sitting in the row behind us when we first got there, and then I went to the toilet and I came back and he wasn't there. I think he'd moved. Did he move?
What guy?
There was some guy.
I don't know. There wasn't. There was no one behind us. Oh my god! You might have seen a ghosty.
Maybe I did. See, a ghost who was spending his eternity by going to the movies.
Yeah, if I think of him next week when Emoji Movie comes out here, he'll be like, well, that's my unfinished business done. I was looking at that poster. I keep looking at the poster and seeing that emoji girl with the blue hair and the beanie. And I'm like, what the fuck emoji is that? Like, I've never seen that. Like, what emotion is that?
That's a manic pixie dream girl emoji.
Yeah, because, I mean, if I had to, an emoji, that's the one.
Okay, but what about dancing red dress lady?
I kind of like the blue hair.
Okay.
But, then I saw a little bit of a trailer, and she's Jailbreak.
Oh.
So she must be, like, the streetwise hacker emoji with the coloured hair that helps our dim-witted hero navigate out of his predicament. Yeah. So that's Wild Style, right? From the Lego movie.
Basically.
That's the same thing.
Yeah.
That's the same character. What the fuck? What the fuck, Sony? I'm going to put the fuck Sony meter right back onto fuck Sony. Right now. That's the forecast. My cousin Rachel.
Yeah.
Actually,
you can take the lead on this one because I feel like you had much more glee watching this one. I was mostly kind of just baffled, I think.
It's been received well.
Really?
Yeah, it has. Like, not, you know, massively well, but it's reasonably high on like 70-80% approval or something.
Wow.
Yeah, whereas I thought it was really ham-fisted.
Yeah, like it's the sort of thing that would normally be in my wheelhouse. Like it's the kind of thing that I would be, into. Like it's like Sam Claflin and then the Jorah guy from Game of Thrones, and
It's a period piece.
Yeah, it's a period piece.
Yeah,
and,
it's right in your wheelhouse.
Absolutely, and I was just growing more and more confused by what the fuck was going on in this movie as it went on.
So it's about a dude played by Sam Claflin. His cousin,
Also played by Sam Claflin.
has gone off, married some woman, and
Who is his own cousin.
Is it?
I think they're related in some way.
I thought she became my cousin Rachel through marriage.
Well, no, I think she was already... I think they met because they were already related in some distant way. Anyway, it doesn't really
She's
matter.
like Italian, isn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and she's played by Rachel
Weisz. Yeah.
Which is confusing. Like my cousin Rachel, and then Rachel
Played by Rachel.
Rachel turns
yeah.
up, and it's
Yeah.
like, are you playing yourself?
Maybe. It was that, like, maybe that's part of the mystery that we didn't get.
Out of time? Yeah. So the cousin dies, and Claflin's like, oh, what, this horrible gold digger lady did this. I'm going to fucking give her what for. And then he falls in love.
Yeah.
And then he makes a lot of stupid mistakes.
Yeah. He says, I'm gonna show her, and then she turns up, and then she's quite pleasant and nice, and suddenly he goes from hating her guts to being obsessively...
Wanting to be up in her guts to his nuts.
Obsessively in love with her, to the point where, like, she's not really that into him. Really.
No.
Really at all. And everyone around him is sort of saying, hey, buddy, maybe don't do this. Like, seems a bit weird. And he's like, you don't know my life. And then he just does increasingly dumber and dumber things. And I'm just like, what is happening here?
This is my joy from this movie, is that Claflin plays a total derp lord. Like, he is just such a fucking dummy, and he's so committed to it. And it's so transparently obvious to the audience that he is wrong, even though he commits to everything, like, with just this fervor. But it's not even one of those movies where everybody's just written like shit. It's just him written like shit. And the other characters seem to know that he's wrong as well. Like, Jorah just seems like sick of his shit. And they're constantly advising him against stuff. So it's one of those things where it's so obvious to the audience, but this prick just keeps selling it. So he's like...
He just keeps digging himself the biggest hole he possibly can.
Yeah, he's like, oh, when she turns up, I'm going to treat her like a dog. I'm going to put her food in a bowl on the floor, and I'm going to beat her with a stick. And you're just like, no, you're not. You're not. You're not. We know you're not. She's going to turn up and you're going to be in, yes, I am. And we're like, no, you're not. And he's like, I will. And you're like, fuck off. And then she turns up and he's like, you're pretty. And then he's like, I'm going to give her all my jewels. And then
that'll show her.
Yeah, and they're all like, don't give her all the jewels. That's ridiculous. Like, don't do that. That's the family. Don't do that. And we're like, don't do that, dickhead. And he's like, I will. You can't stop me. And he just keeps doing this all through the film. And it gets, like, more and more ludicrous as it goes on.
It's like, now it's my birthday. I'm gonna fucking show you. I'm gonna give you all of my money.
It reminded me, it's such a horrible character that an actor has to play and has to commit to, that it reminded me of Jamie Dornan in the 50 Shades. Not that there's any similarity with the characters, but just that idea of somebody just stuck in a really shitty role, which is far shittier than all the other roles around them.
I feel like Jamie Dornan didn't commit to Christian Grey half as much as Sam Claflin committed to
No, that's
this
true.
guy.
Claflin is doing it like he thinks it's good.
Yeah, and Claflin, like, Dornan would have got reasonable money. Like, Claflin for this movie would have got, like, a Le Snack and a can of Fanta. You know?
Oh, that sounds good, but still, no. I can see the bind he would have been in, but no, not worth it, mate.
No. But,
A lot of people
on
probably don't know what a Claflin is.
What? Oh, he's the handsome blonde one from Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Like Finnick, not the little doughy...
Little loaf of
Peter.
bread boy. Peter bread.
Little Peter bread, yeah. But I guess on the upside, like, not that many people are going to see this film.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
really, you know.
Well, I watched it because there's a cinema near here, like an art house cinema, and that poster was up forever. I walked past her stern
Yeah.
veiled face.
I
for a
love
long
Rachel
time.
Weisz, yeah.
And I think as well because I watched Lady Macbeth, and that really surprised me. Like, I really enjoyed that. I thought that was great. That I thought maybe this would be sort of certainly more intelligent than it was. But it gets so crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
I was
there's-
definitely expecting something a lot more nefarious, I think.
Yeah, although I guess it's it was a movie in the 50s and originally before that a book, so I guess you're sort of stuck along a certain path,
Yeah.
but fuck, it's obvious. So ham-fisted. So, yes, Claflin, you are the dumbest character I've seen in a movie all year, and that's saying something. Yeah, and I saw Rings. So there you go. We're out of stuff.
We are out of stuff.
43 minutes.
Oh, see, remember the olden days when we had Fuck Yeah Game of Thrones to pad out our last 15 minutes?
God.
Oh, those were the days.
They were our golden years.
The glory days.
Oh, well, look, fuck it. Let's call it because, as you said, late last night, because you were here recording 3 hours of Dungeons and Drongos.
Oh, God, it felt like fucking years. Yes, I was here. I'm not used to a 3-hour recording session.
That's a great advertisement for your guest appearance on Dungeons and Drongos.
I am not used to 3-hour recording sessions, and I was fairly well running out of steam by that last hour.
Don't let this sour diarrhea persona dissuade you because...
Well, you're not going to hear it for about 3 months, so you'll forget about that anyway.
It's episode 10, but Jacinta is your character. No spoilers, but I thought you did an excellent job. It was a lot of fun. So, yeah, that was really good. But, fuck, Dungeons and Drongos is killing me at the moment, and it's just from drinking and eating a whole heap of shit on the night of the record. Like, every Saturday, I'm just feeling like dog shit.
Yeah, it's almost like that's a choice, and you could maybe just, like, not.
Sorry, that didn't come through. What did you say?
Yeah. I mean, I had a drink last night, and I'm okay.
Yeah.
Apart from falling asleep in the fucking movie I didn't want to see anyways. But apart from that, all good.
I drank 2 pints of beer at the pub, then I
Yeah.
drank a bottle of wine, and then I
Yes.
drank another bottle of beer.
Yeah. You did drink a lot last night.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I got to host a quiz night tonight, which is
Yeah.
the first time I've ever done that. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and none of us are there to support
I
you.
know. I'm feeling a
Yay.
bit nervous. I've got no idea what to expect, but
Yeah, well, don't eat Nando's beforehand. I hear that turns out badly
I'll
when
try
you're
not
nervous.
to shit in any windows.
Yeah,
So,
it was always a good plan.
yeah. So, look, thanks so much, everybody, for listening. Go to fruitlesspursuits.com to find out everything else that we're doing. There is Half Hour History episode this week, so look out for that on Thursday. And, of course, Dungeons and Drongos every Tuesday, which has been going off the fucking... I was going to say going off the charts. It's actually on the charts, which is really good.
It's going off like a frog in a sock.
Mate, it'll blow your doors. So do support that. You'll also find links to rate and review on iTunes. I'd really love that, especially if you're listening to new shows and you're enjoying them. Please show that appreciation. Get us up there. And Patreon as well. I know there hasn't been any bonus content for a while, but we're planning to do a bonus Dungeons and Drongos standalone episode for Halloween, so that's not that far away, and we'll use that to test the waters to sort of see where we can go from there. But look, thanks everyone. That's very auspicious.
Yeah. I mean, a nice gassy end to the show. Yeah. Well, we'll see you next week with, what are we seeing? Mother.
Yes.
We saw a nice trailer for that today that basically said, this movie will fuck up your life.
Yeah.
And that made me feel really good.
You might want to bring a cushion.
Yeah,
that one.
I might bring a little neck pillow maybe. My back's a bit sore from being so slouched down in the chair, so I'll have to make some allowances next week.
Have a bit of a snooze through
Yeah.
J-Law.
Yeah.
Well, look, it's either that or the Emoji Movie or American Assassin, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the kid from Boy, right? Boyhood.
No.
Yeah.
No, he's the kid from Teen Wolf.
Really?
Yeah.
I swear, has the Boyhood kid done anything else? I thought that was
Isn't the
him.
Boyhood kid... oh, no. No, he wasn't an actor, was he? He just...
No, he
never went on
wasn't.
and
But
did
then,
anything.
he acted in that movie, and I thought, like,
No,
okay.
no, that Dylan O'Brien kid was already...
He's a teen wolf.
He wasn't a Teen Wolf, he's in the Teen Wolf TV show.
I'm so out of touch. So, sorry, just because we can. So, Eli Coltrane is the Boyhood kid.
Yeah.
And, he was in The Circle. I saw him in The Circle.
Oh, okay.
I knew I'd seen him in something. But no, I thought he was that guy, but he's not.
No.
All right. Well, that's a waste of everyone's time. See ya.
We'll see you next time.